We are live.
Yay! I am Old New Dude, and he is.
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son. And this is Dance 70, The Queen's Hand. And go ahead with your spoiler warnings.
Oh yeah, all fair use laws are in effect. Spoilers ahead. If you hadn't read the chapter, the Queen's Hand from A Dance of Dragons, you're in the wrong place. The algorithm screwed you up. Go read the chapter, then come back.
Pretty much. And we might talk a little bit about informed speculation on the Winds of Winter, especially since we're both, well, we both haven't terribly recently read the Barristan and Tyrion and Victarion from the Winds of Winter. We're aware of them and likely to draw from them on our knowledge as we discuss this.
Now, is it Quinn the DM or GM?
I don't remember. GM maybe.
Oh, yeah, I think it's GM. Quinn the GM. I think he has a video that's basically covering the battle there at Marine.
Oh, there's a big collab podcast with Radio Westeros and History of Westeros and the Nauticast podcast where they had like all those creators get together and try and cover it as if they were reporting on what's happened there and what, kind of just trying to combine all the different things that we know about it from this chapter and from the Winds of Winter and so forth.
Right. Basically building a map of who's where and when and what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Because I ain't gonna lie, those chapters, unless you sit there and try to draw out who's where and when and doing what, it does get a little bit confusing.
Sure. King Christopher Mudd, I'm late, but I'm here. Good to have you here, Tris.
But yeah, right. Well, I mean, we still know for a fact that those chapters are going to stay as is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And as far as I know, they're not published chapters, as far as in a book being sold.
That may not be true. So sometimes the paperbacks or tradebacks or something of the last chapter, the last book, will include at least one of the chapters. So some of these sample chapters, usually there's at least one of them that actually has been published. Now I couldn't tell you which one that is, but
I'm trying to see.
And then the app has the app has like 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you could argue whether that counts as published or not as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I was looking at because the back of my book is Cerberus.
He still feels free to change those. I'm pretty sure that he does change that he still does change them. Like if you took the one that was from the end of from Feast and then compared that to Dance, I think there are still some edits and changes and things that he decides to retcon and so forth.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it changes. Back of this, I have to get the bigger book because of my eyeballs. But it's Cerberus in the back. I don't know if that can that the fact that it's not
Heyo? Yeah, I knew it was Heyo. I figured it out. I figured out what you were doing there.
What was I saying? Oh, hey Ranger.
Anyway, you haven't gone through to compare it, but you have one of the trade backs or something that has a chapter from the beginning of the next book, and you haven't gone back and
looking at the other channels, the ones that I saw that took out their chapter rereads did not take out their wins chapters. They did those all the way through. With actually printing the words on the screen to highlight ones here and there. So I don't know.
Well, they were made available free online in many cases, and archive.org probably still has them and so forth. So if it's something that's freely available, why would somebody sue you to take down something that's freely available, right? So like we read a poem last time, but I read it from a site online where it was freely available, right? In our last video, I meant Scott Baio. Anyway, so we read a poem, but it was a poem that's freely available. So why would you go after us to take us down when you
Right.
could just read the
Well, I
freely
mean,
available
the
stuff?
chances of them ever finding us are slim to none.
Well, there's
But
that too. But my point is, we're
yeah,
not um, we're not the source of the information that's available. The source of the information that's available is, in fact, where we read it from, and that's true of
right.
these sample chapters as well, right? Like,
Yeah,
there, if you, for example, if what's spurring this, as we have speculated, is the lawsuits against the AI companies trying to get rights. Their argument was, well, we all we did was we didn't teach them those books. We just looked at what's freely available online, including transcripts of YouTube videos. And they said, oh, well, then we got to get rid of those, right?
yeah. Well, I mean,
No,
on
no,
that
no, no, no,
subject,
no. Worm Ranger, we're just discussing why we don't read through the chapters anymore. We give a summary. So, by the way, here's the summary, right? Quentin dies. The Green Grace tries to ransom the hostages. Tries, yeah, like she's really trying. Barristan makes plans, and then, like the antler men at the Blackwater, corpses fly from trebuchets. That's
yeah.
that's my summary of what happens in this chapter.
But on the AI thing, I asked my son because we have the anniversary edition hardbacks that have the additional artwork and everything. I asked him if there was a new one out that we've missed or anything, and he's like, "Yeah, it's the one that's got the AI art in it, where they get the Lannister
Yeah,
colors
yeah, we talked
wrong."
about that. Yeah, we've talked about that extensively on this. Oh, no, we may have been largely in conversations that are now marked private, but we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
talked about that
But to
extensively.
sit there and gripe, if you're gonna gripe AI, gripe it all, right? I have a big bone to pick when it comes to AI art. I don't like it. I like people that
Okay.
draw.
No,
I like
no,
people that get
no.
credit for it.
Yeah, there's examples of AI art where they included the signature of what they were copying from.
Uh, but
like,
getting
like
to George though, when it comes to AI on his writing versus him using maybe not him, but the publisher using AI art in an anniversary book of his writings, I I I I I think AI copying a writer's style and going through and try to figure out using AI to write the wins a winner or whatever. I think that's a no. And using AI art in an anniversary book where you've paid artists over the years to do beautiful works for this book
mhm,
and that and calendars and all this, and then to use AI art, I think it's an abomination. I mean, I'm hagging on
yeah,
that one, right? It's an abomination. Do not put AI art. We won't buy the book because it has AI art in it.
yeah. And I like how they changed their post. Originally, they posted that the artist said he didn't use AI, and we believe him. And then they updated the post to say the artist says he didn't use AI because nobody believes him, basically, right? Anyway,
Right. Okay.
all right.
Good thing it's a
So,
short chapter.
all right. 3 days dying is the so it's Quentin's 3 days dying. 3 days dying is the Jesus Stoneheart reference, which could imply that Quentin is alive.
Or and at the beginning of it, last time I said the prince laid 3 day die. It is the Dornish prince. So I got that wrong before. I
Yeah,
misremembered.
they specifically say she does say Dornish gods, right? So she clearly believes that he's Dornish.
Yeah.
The
And
rain had
on
drowned. Okay, go ahead.
what's it? Go ahead.
Unfortunately, companies
The
don't care because AI is cheaper. Yeah, and that's one of the things I was just reading about is that these expensive AI models and big data centers. That's not the future. That's if you're investing in that, get out. That's not the future. The future is the cheap AI models that barely suck electricity that um, that you can run on your own computers. That's the future is not giant data centers that require huge amounts of electricity. That's not what the future is going to be. And if you're
Mhm.
investing in that, stop it. You're wasting your money. That's not the future. Anyway, go ahead.
Now getting back onto the AI art, I have seen artists take their pencil drawings and use AI to ink it. I'm
And
okay
that's
with that
what
because
some people
it's the
thought. He may
artist.
have done some of that, and he may have done some background additions through that and so forth. That he's running out of time, and
Right.
so he's talked about his process and how he does some tracing and stuff like that. And some of the things that he does in his process are somewhat similar to the way AI does some things, but there's some things that are clearly AI type mistakes in that. And
Yeah, yeah. I had Chris show me a picture because they had the Lannisters in blue or something like that. I can't remember what it was,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah,
But, on the people that bash on Quentin's Alive video for Preston Jacobs, they're like, "Well, he was there for 3 days and she was with him nonstop. He would have said something." And um, listening to the few tortured words he gasped out from time to time. All right, the few. All right, that don't mean a whole lot of words. And like I said last time, I think the words were Prince promised Pentoast. I mean, because Barristan later knows exactly what was promised him. So promised Pentoast is definitely in there as far as the garbled words, the limited words that he was able to speak. And then you got to remember, she's feeding this kid, or whoever's there, uh, lots of milk of the poppy. Because I mean, the dude's got
yeah. It does say it says
skull.
few tortured words he gasped out from time to time. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, it could be very little that he has said here. That's possible. Absolutely.
I was a prince. I was promised Pentos. I mean, you could use the imagination
Yeah.
to
And why?
figure out.
Or for that matter, if it becomes clear that they've mistaken you for for a Prince of Dorne and they're treating you kindly, like
Mhm.
and you can barely speak, like. Are you going to use your barely speaking words to disabuse them of their mistake? Right?
Also, which we're covering now is stuff that builds onto theories, whether we agree with it or not. But on the theory that Missandei is not who she seems she is, she's the one that has sat with him nonstop for the 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's not
Right.
100% sure that she has given a
But she
full
isn't.
and true accounting of what
Does
has
she have her own
transpired.
motivations for not revealing the truth? That's
Exactly.
possible. So, Roy Major, I agree that it's extremely likely that George will, and Preston agrees that it's extremely likely that George will leave Quentin dead. He's saying all he's saying is that he could see George deciding to keep Quentin alive. I mean, this is a guy who literally said, "Oh, you think he's dead, do you?" about Jon Snow, and he's just saying there's more inconsistencies planted and things planted here to give him an out if he wanted to do it. Not that he's going to, right? He's like I should be like he's talked about this later. I really don't think that Quentin is going to be alive. This is Preston speaking. Like he's like I really don't think that George is going to keep Quentin alive. I I'm just saying he's planted some seeds that could allow him to do so if he wanted to. That's all he's saying, right? And
Now, I did use
knowing
the theory
George, that's probably true.
you just said it last time that Quentin has gone into the dragon.
It's Toodle's theory that Quentin actually, yeah, the two dragons are behaving differently because one of them has Quentin living a
Quentin,
second life inside them.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
get to that. We'll get to that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
there's
we'll
a
get to it.
line here
I wrote notes on it.
yeah. I like that theory. I mean, there's too many viewpoint characters
It's
in
Toodles, of
Marine.
course you like it.
Of course, there's too many viewpoint characters in Marine. Too much going on. I mean, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
him killing off Quentin and keeping him dead, but I mean, it would be pretty cool if he had the second life in a dragon.
Well, and that goes back to our previous discussions and the fact that it seems extremely likely that George actually does plant some little things that he wants to be interpreted by some readers as something that most of us wouldn't do.
Well, I mean, there could be no payoff for it whatsoever, other than one of the dragons just seemed to act slightly different.
Uh-huh. And that's
Um,
in this chapter and probably
this
going
chapter,
forward. That's true.
yeah, but I mean, you stop
Yeah.
and think about it. If Quentin is in a dragon and Danny comes back, Danny shoot him away. Basically, would that dragon that has Quentin in him treat Dany differently, or people like, oh, that's because she locked him up. Well, if the other one's not treating her that way, and he got locked up with him, and then you got one that's treating her a little differently, is it because of Quentin? I don't think it's something we'll ever get the answer for, unless Dany senses.
No, I agree. That's my point. My point is that oh, as we've discussed, it's extremely likely that George plants little things that he'll never really reveal that are there for readers to have. That he expects some readers to interpret as being really significant, and that most of us will just miss. And I'm saying that based upon the fact that one of his mentors was Gene Wolfe, and there's some video called there's some channel called Asher's Trueborn Son that has a video about that. Anyway,
never heard of.
So we got this line: the raid had drowned the worst of the fires, but wisps of smoke still rose from the smoldering ruin that had been the pyramid of Haskar and the great black pyramid of Urizen, where Rhaegal had made his lair, hulked in the gloom like a fat woman bedecked with glowing orange jewels. Now, perhaps the god. I did that just to remind us that that Rhaegal, that's where Rhaegal is and so forth. But anyway, perhaps the gods are not deaf after all, Sir Barristan Selmy reflected as he watched those distant embers. If not for the rain, the fires might have consumed all of Meereen by now. So let's revisit this rain, because there's some interesting parallels that take place across these different chapters. I got that he could be alive. I just love the fact that this kid strives for something greater that is possible, and it ends how you think it would. Now, one of the things George does, though, is have these story arcs that mean something in the book, such that it's a complete story in the book, but then in the bigger picture, it doesn't necessarily fit with that picture. That's the world George created, and Quentin is an unfortunate casualty of that. And I get why people like that Quentin being included at Adventure Stank, right? Like it's definitely Quentin's journey is definitely meant to be Adventure Stank. Like that's like he tells you at the beginning, as we said, he tells you at the beginning of the character in each book. Here's what's going to happen to them, and Blue Lemons does this incredible job with her analysis of the Howland is Shadrick, right? Where she explains what he's doing and how he's laying out how this is all going to go, and how you can see how it goes with everybody from the beginning. It's you're told what's going to happen, and then you see what happens and so forth. And anyway, I highly recommend that. And we do have a video series on that, and I should probably make a playlist. I should probably make 3 playlists, like one that's the Toodles version, one that's the Blue Lemons version, and one that's the two of them together. But anyway, I'll get on that someday.
2 different people's similar theories, or even people's theories that aren't connected at all, and put them together. I like doing that, because I think that, because both, I mean, you take 2 theories that have, they're not just opinions, there's stuff in the books that actually that lean that way, or prove it to that person that's given the theory, and then you have another one that have used some of those same things to do a different theory. And it's like shuffling cards. I mean, you got 2 halves of the deck, and you sit there.
So let's say you had this theory that the Dane family and Dorne in particular represented like the erasure of female equality in the goddess. And then let's say there were people who were theorizing, hypothetically speaking, that Arthur Dane was Mance Rayder. And then you had been trying to understand like how all this stuff fit together, and you were pretty sure that Dany and Aegon were twins, but then somebody mentioned that Val was a triplet with them, and then you go, ding, because the biggest objection people have to Arthur Dane being Mance Rayder is why? Like, why would he be there? Why would he do that? And then suddenly it's the stories of him going north for a woman, or for a crown, but actually for his cloak. Suddenly that all makes sense, right? It's about Dorne and Dornish law, and his interpretation that the rightful heir and the person he needs to protect is Val, right? Suddenly, you go from a theory where everyone's like, well, but that theory doesn't work because there's no explanation for why he would do it. Suddenly, no, and it fits the entire premise that that's what Dorne and the House Dane represent. And it's like, ding, 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 ding. And your brain is like, wow, this all fits together, right?
Yeah, I mean, they give you that representation or that what if on Dornish law with examples of Myrcella. And it's
actually about Val.
It's about Val, which for those
and Arthur,
if you watch this on rewatch, we think there were 3 babies born at the Tower of Joy: Val, Fagon, Danny. Now Fagon can be swapped out for John depending on whatever you want to do with the R plus L equals J or whatever. But the beginning and the ending of that book series and that 3 heads of the dragon is the same as Aegon and his sister wives. An older sister that starts with a V, the male in the middle, and then the younger sister. All right. So
and not only that, but the oldest sister winds up being. My favorite joke is Dario, you're on, man. It's Arthur Dane and Rhaegar walk into a bar. He orders a drink.
I like that. Oh my God, I've never heard it. That's pretty good.
But see Triple Targaryens on the Asher's Trueborn Son YouTube channel, and usually I'll leave a comment on our videos saying, "See my channel." 95.
Dario is Benjen Stark, so you got to put some Benjen Stark in that joke too.
Yeah, Benjen should probably be thrown in there. That's probably a good idea. And maybe Cold Hands.
Benjen Stark's like, what? No, you're joking.
All right.
I'm adding a joke to a joke.
So I wanted to revisit the rain because we actually do see some similarities, but we see Barristan knowing that it's going to rain, and we see Arch saying that he knew it was going to rain, and we see Arch saying that the dragons don't like rain, and then we see Barristan in this chapter telling us that the dragons don't like rain. But anyway,
we're also told that dragons don't like rain when they're talking about what battle was it? Where they had the high ground, but it was raining or something. It was one of the Aegon battles, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably. I think so. So I don't know. Maybe we don't need to revisit the rain. That's probably enough just to say that actually all does happen. And in fact, we did mention the wooden dragons and how that could be a reference to this idea of fake dragons coming from specifically Aegon the Fourth, right? Anyway, he saw no sign of dragons, but he had not expected to. The dragons did not like the rain, and so the thing where Arch says, where he kind of ties both of those things together. I knew it would rain, he said in a gloomy tone. My bones were aching last night. They always ache before it rains. The dragons won't like this. Fire and water don't mix, and that's a fact. You get a good cook fire lit, blazing away nice, then it starts to piss down rain, and next thing your wood is sodden and your flames are dead. And then of course Drink says that dragons are not made of wood, and they talk about how the dragons were made of wood and so forth. And of course they're Dornish.
The Archibald before this chapter sounds like a completely different person than in this chapter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's suddenly the super. I mean, we've seen that he's kind of super competent, but yeah, he's definitely. We've
seen him physically competent, but now it's so
he's mentally. Yeah, it's not just that he's a great fighter; he's actually pretty mentally sharp as well. Yeah. One of the things that we should say is that the number. I mean, I've mentioned that one of Gene Wolfe's favorite tricks is to give you an original idea, disprove it to you, and now you refuse to look at it, and then it turns out that the original idea is there's a way to get around the proof. Even he gives you an alternative that's completely different, and then there's a way to get around the proof to get back to the original idea. And if you're trying to write a rereadable series, that Ned and Ashara should be Jon's parents, that should be true, even though it's been disproven to you, and in some way you get around that proof, right? But even more fundamental to rereadability and to Gene Wolfe would be if your character gives an assessment, especially of another character, it should be wrong, right? That with enough evidence that you can tell that it's wrong, because that assessment that can look like it's right having that assessment be wrong is like, that's a really, really good way to make something more readable. And so when Preston says things like our characters are always wrong or our characters are often wrong, that's especially true when it comes to assessments of other characters by a character.
Right. Well, I mean, you find out that Sir Barristan was wrong the first time that he weighed the worth of Archibald. I was wrong. His first thought on this character was wrong to begin with.
And yet he's continuing to devalue Drink, who has been giving us brilliant ideas and been very concerned and all this sort of thing.
He might have been the one to be like, oh no, you need a hooker. No, this is a bad idea. I mean, he understood that this is a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
Like when they went to go meet with the tattered prince, Drink was on point as far as he's not a craven. He was ready. The battle at what is it? The slave city. I can't think of it.
Astapor?
Yeah, Astapor. I mean, you're not going to survive in the windblown if you're not pulling your weight. And the stuff that Quentin saw, Drink definitely, and they fought pirates coming through the stepstone. I mean, he's not a coward. He definitely knows his skill. But I think, I don't know if what we see in this chapter is true and for good on what's happening really with these two characters.
Yeah.
So
the nearest silent sister was 10,000. I'll see these return to Dorne. The nearest silent sister was 10,000 leagues away. Does that mean that he's wrong? I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, well, I mean, we've seen a silent sister pop up in the Jaime chapter. That was his mom. Could there be somebody else out there? I don't know.
Yeah, or does that indicate that Joanna's watching him or something? I don't know.
Yeah. On the Quentin got sucked up by the dragon. There's a line. It would have been kinder for the dragon. Oh, it would have been. I can't speak. It would have been kinder if the dragons had devoured him. What if that's a skin change kind of thing?
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe they have devoured him. He's entirely within a dragon. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then a little further down, you got the other men might wish to die.
Yeah. He'd reached that age when he was loath to close his eyes for fear that he might never open them again. Other men might wish to die in bed asleep, but that was no death for a knight of the Kingsguard. Yeah, there's been a lot of him believing he's about to die and so forth. And so then the question becomes, does that mean that he is going to die with sword in hand, or does that mean that he's just going to George is going to have him die one time?
Yeah, well, I mean, foreshadowing is only foreshadowing if it comes to be if it's later to be proven true. So,
but it can also be ironic.
Yeah. You can point out a bunch of stuff in this that that's foreshadowing, and that nothing ever happens with it. So, is it foreshadowing?
Right. It's a gardener planting seeds that may not pay off. That may not grow.
He's got too many viewpoints in Marine.
Yep, with the weeds of winter. So much of the prince's flesh had sloughed away that he could see the skull beneath. His eyes were pools of pus. He should have stayed in Dorne. He should have stayed a frog. I don't know. Now, there's a whole lot of stark parallels with Ned we've mentioned, and I think George is just laughing at the fact that he's about to do a bunch more. The brazen mask beneath his arm was new, a wolf's head with lolling tongue. So I think that's just George laughing at all the Stark stuff he's about to do.
Yep.
Is the council assembled? They await the hand's pleasure below. You are the king's hand, Varys said. We serve at your pleasure, Lord Stark.
Yep.
They want Hisdar free and me dead, and they want you to slay these dragons. Some of the knights were good at that. Men are still pulling corpses from the pyramid of Haskar. The great masters of Yurazan and Ulez have abandoned their own pyramids to the dragons. And the butcher's tally, 9 and 20. 3 murders the first night, 9 the second, but to go from 9 to 9 and 20 in a single night. Anyway, I think George may just be kind of playing with numbers there, like triple plus 2. You know? The blood tax, 2,900 pieces of gold from each pyramid. Skahaz grumbled. It will be collected, but the loss of a few coins will never stay the harpy's hand. Only blood can do that. So you say. Now I'm gonna read his original quote because he might not be actually saying what Bearson thinks here.
Okay, go ahead.
So you say, the hostages again, he would kill them, everyone, if I allowed it. Now, again, our characters are often wrong in their assessments of other characters. Let's go back to Daenerys' first chapter. Your Grace has not asked for my counsel, said Skahaz Shapepate, but I say that blood must pay for blood. Take one man from each of the families I have named and kill him. The next time one of yours is slain, take 2 from each great house and kill them both. There will not be a third murder. So I know Barristan thinks he's saying kill the children, but his original plan was not to kill children. His original plan was to grab a man as one of the leaders of these houses that's leading these killings against you and kill them. So I'm just pointing out, he might not be saying that you have to kill the hostages.
Right. Now, is Skahaz the harpy?
I think the Green Grace is the harpy.
Okay.
Skahaz represents Peter Baelish, and there has been a poisoning that is unrelated, in my opinion, there's been a poison that's unrelated to the politics.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the original poisoning, it's because John Aaron was going to give Stannis Sweet Robin, and I think he was putting Tyrion in the van there. But anyway, I think he wanted to get rid of his kid.
We also have a second poisoning with the Purple Wedding, and it was not the intended person. That was probably facilitated by Littlefinger. So Skahaz is that Littlefinger character, and then you have a poisoning in Marine.
And Littlefinger takes advantage of the fact that he knows he can pin the poisoning on. He knows everyone's going to pin the poisoning basically on Cersei. Let's be clear. And what actually happens is Pycelle kills John Aaron because he thinks Cersei's trying to poison him. But the reality is Lysa's trying to poison him because he was going to foster Sweet Robin with Stannis. Right. And Baelish takes advantage of the fact that everyone, including Pycelle, will think that Cersei's doing this and plays that to his advantage.
Yeah.
Similarly, Skahaz thinks that everyone will believe that what actually happened is House Paul was trying to poison Belwas. That Belwas made no secret that he liked spicy food, that Dany didn't like spicy food, that Hizdar didn't like spicy food, and that Belwas was very open about his love for honeyed locusts. And George foreshadows an attack with House Paul. He then has Strong Belwas shout about locusts, and one of the 2 things he thinks we need to see from that is the reaction of House Paul. He has Belwas fall to his knees, and then he shows the reaction to that of House Paul. Like, anyway.
Well, it's that I think that gets to the Purple Wedding. I mean, what you think you're seeing is not what you're seeing. So everybody just automatically assumes that it was a poison for Dany, but that's not what it was. It was the poison for Strong Belwas.
I think the better parallel here is actually this one though, right? Because your argument is, well, Baelish is actually involved in 2 different poisonings, but I'm saying that this one to me is the John Aaron poisoning that we're seeing.
Right.
Your council will be growing restless. They're the Queen's council, not mine. It's the hand's turning that's the cause of all the trouble, my lords, the commander of the City Watch complained to the King's council. The King's turning, Ned corrected Winston. I assure you, the hand wants no part of it. So anyway, the fact that he's like, they're the Queen's council, not mine. Don't call them mine. Don't call them the hands. And that's one of only like 2 references that to the term the King's council is that line right there. So anyway.
Yeah.
Histar's grotesque dragon thrones had been removed at Sir Berson's command, but he had not brought back the simple pillowed bench the queen had favored. Instead, a large round table had been set up in the center of the hall, with tall chairs all around it, where men might sit and talk as peers. It's almost as if Arthur and his sword might be important. See Truth and Targaryens, episode 6.
That's the first thing I thought of when I read that. I was like King Arthur and the Round Table.
So history of Westeros has talked about Alexander the Great and the Silver Shields. The youngest were in their 60s. So the stalwart shields seem to be named, at least during Alexander's time. To be honest, what happened there, I mean, yes, they were undefeated under Alexander, and the youngest were in their 60s, and they were like the best fighters in the world and so forth. But what the reason that happened was because his father had put together a bunch of veterans as the Silver Shields and given them these silver shields that shined. So they're not being named for being graybeards. They weren't in their 60s when he set them up, but they.
Now, do they use shields like Oberon does with the reflecting the sunlight?
I think so. I think that's part of it. Yeah. Okay. But the because they're definitely not named for being graybeards because they weren't when they were formed. But my point is the stalwart shields are probably named for. They're clearly named for the Harpy's first victim. But I have to wonder if George is associating Barristan and Meereen with the Silver Shields and the fact that they were, undefeated and now what actually happened with the Silver Shields was they betrayed their commander for hostages and were considered too dangerous and disloyal, so they were used on suicide missions. But anyway, to a man, basically.
Does that
anyway,
mean that the stalwart shields are going to betray?
I think it's a reference to this idea that you can't have love and duty, and that that Barristan, the Kingsguard, are supposed to be like Jon Snow and the Watch, and that there's the whole concept of them is that they won't fall for the same problems, because it was basically hostages being taken that resulted in that. It was choosing love over duty, basically. Across the table from Sir Barristan sat 4 of King Hisdar's erstwhile guardsmen, the pit fighters, Gogor the Giant, Belliquo Bonebreaker, Cameron of the Count, and the Spotted Cat. Last to come, strong Belwas lumbered into the hall.
I'm so glad he didn't die.
The sight of him gladdened the old knight's heart. He had once crossed the world with strong Belwas, and he knew he could rely on him should all this come to swords.
Yeah.
They made strong Belwas sick. Someone must die. Richard Martell died this morning, just before the dawn. Sorry, considering he was the one that they were trying to pin the poisoning on.
Yeah.
Archibald Ironwood had been cradling his prince's scorched and smoking body when the brazen beasts had found him, as his burned hands could testify. He'd used them to beat out the flames that had engulfed Quentin Martell. Now, of course, the brazen beasts could be in on any sort of conspiracy, so this information may not be accurate.
Yeah. Gareth Drinkwater was standing over them with sword in hand, but he dropped the blade the moment the locust had appeared.
Should Drogon return to Meereen without Daenerys mounted on his back, the city would erupt in blood and flame. Of that, Sir Barristan had no doubt. The very men sitting at this table would soon be at dagger points with one another. A young girl she might be, but Daenerys Targaryen was the only thing that held them all together. Which kind of reminds me of Robert and Cersei, and their marriage being the only thing that's holding the realm together.
Oh, yeah. I know that scene's not in the book, but the scene of them two talking, when he asked her what's the greater number, 1 or 5, but they start out talking about their marriage and was there ever a chance, and what holds around together our marriage and all that. That's a really good scene, and yep. I'm pretty sure it was the episode that George wrote too.
And he was certainly in the writer's room for the writing of maybe even the first 4, because he's still writing in the.
I know he had a lot of writing on episode 2, if I'm not mistaken.
He was definitely involved in writing for the first 4 seasons, and
I mean,
when they were.
I hate this theory. I love the theory that Gendry's trueborn, and a lot of the basis for that is episode 2 of season 1. The episode that George wrote when she's talking about the black-haired beauty that was born that died and all that stuff.
And as I've said, I'm much more open to tinfoil with very little evidence than I used to be.
Yeah,
Thus
I'm
far,
wearing you down.
thus far, both dragons seem to have a taste for mutton, returning to Daznax whenever they grew hungry. If either one was hunting man, inside or outside the city, Sir Barristan had yet to hear of it. The other Myronese the dragons had slain since Hargaz the hero had been the slavers foolish enough to object when Rhaegal attempted to make his lair atop the pyramid of Hasgar. Right, so that's an important line because it's going to come back to. Well, we'll get there. And we probably need to get moving on because anyway. Ransom, said Sir Barristan, each man's weight in gold. The wise masters do not need our gold, sir, said Marcellin. They are richer than your Westerosi lords, every one. Their sellswords will want the gold, though. What are the hostages to them? If the Yonkishmen refuse, it will drive a blade between them and their hirelings. Or so I hope. It had been Missandei who suggested the ploy to him. He would never have thought of such a thing himself. 11 years of age, yet Missandei is as clever as half the men at this table and wiser than all of them.
Yep, I had that one underlined twice.
Yep. I've instructed the Green Grace to present the offer only when all of the Yunkish commanders have assembled to hear it.
I know those out there that pissed at the theory that she's a faceless man or man. At this point,
there's something going on. There's something going on.
Yeah.
Now, Girl Nettles would argue that she's just some sort of savant, and that's maybe that's all it is, but I think there's more to it.
I mean, 11 years old and all the language that she speaks.
Well, it's easier to pick up lots of languages when you're young, actually.
Yeah, but that's a shit ton of languages, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. And when the Yunkai send back the old woman to spit in your eye, what then? Fire and blood, said Barristan Selmy, softly. You would break King Hizar's peace, old man? I would shatter it. We've built a beacon atop the pyramid where once the harpy stood. Dry wood soaked with oil, covered to keep the rain off. Should the hour come, and I pray that it does not, we will light that beacon. The flames will be your signal to pour out of our gates and attack.
The beacon is lit. Gondor calls for aid. Sorry.
I know you will have concerns and questions. Voice them here. By the time we leave this table, all of us must be of a single mind with a single purpose. Sir Barristan let each man speak his mind. Tywin and Robb would approve.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Tyrion and Ned, because they're supposed to be both of them.
I think even though they sat there for all that time, they're still not of a single mind.
Yeah, maybe not.
There's plots within plots.
Well, yeah, because as I've said, I think the Spotted Cat or one of the pit fighters, probably the Spotted Cat's going to attack Barristan. I'm hoping that the Red Lamb saves him because the Red Lamb reminds me of Pod, but there's going to be a wrinkle. It's not going to be just that. It's probably not going to be that perfectly straightforward. And of course, then our theory is that part of the parallels, then they have a fever dream about somebody who's still alive, and so he would have a fever dream about Sharadane.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, as the Spotted Cat goes to attack Sir Barristan, Rhaegal drops down and grabs him off his horse and races away with him to eat him.
Could be. Tautork thought that they should march on Yunkai once they had broken through the lines. The Yellow City would be almost undefended, so the Yunkai would have no choice but to lift the siege and follow. The Greyjoy Robb theory.
Yeah.
The Spotted Cat proposed to challenge the enemy to send forth a champion to face him in single combat. Strong Belwas liked that notion, but insisted he should fight, not the cat.
After he has some liver and onion.
Cameron of the Count put forth a scheme to seize the ships tied up along the riverfront and use the Skahazadon to bring 300 pit fighters around the Yunkish rear. Every man there agreed that the Unsullied were their best troops, but none agreed on how they should be deployed.
Carry on the count on the seizing the ships. I wonder if that was an actual a ploy for them to just leave.
Oh, could be. Grey Worm said only that the Unsullied would obey whatever might be asked of them. Simon Straightback raised one final point. I know that the Yunkai cannot pay them near enough to face dragon flames, so I ask you, if the peace should fail and this battle should be joined, will the dragons come? Will they join the fight? The dragons will do what the dragons will do. If they do come, it may be that just the shadow of their wings will be enough to dishearten the slavers and send them fleeing. And then we've got the hand must surely know that when we attack, the Yunkai will kill the hostages. I will do all I can to prevent that, my friend. I have a notion. Sir Barristan took 2 of his new-made knights with him down into the dungeons. So in Daenerys 1, he said it would be years, but we mentioned that he had reevaluated before his coup that six were ready and 6 more might be eventually. Mm-hmm. The 6 knights, so there'd be 6 knights serving the Lord Commander, which makes sense because there should be 6 knights serving the Lord Commander.
Right.
he brings Tumco and the Red Lamb. So Lark the Lash is his other great squire, with the 3 Giscari brothers also possibly being ready.
Who's the young Jamie?
Tumco. He's bringing Tumco.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep. He crossed the world to offer her his love and fealty, and she laughed in his face. She never laughed, said Selmy. If you knew her, you would know that. So, of course, Barristan and Quentyn may have understood enough Giscari to understand Dany's explanation, but maybe Garrus just didn't understand. That seems quite likely.
Right.
Just made dinner, then going to bed. Hope you both have a great day. Much love. Well, thank you, and enjoy your dinner.
Oh yeah.
Sleep well.
And your sleep.
Yeah. So anyway, it is true that Quentyn had already said that she didn't laugh because he understood the explanation, so he didn't. But anyway, so Garrus isn't exactly wrong because she did laugh, but she was laughing at the absurdity of a frog turning into a prince if she kissed him and so forth.
Right.
Prince Quentyn's death was his own doing and yours. First and last, he was our prince. We owed him our obedience. So we could not dispute the truth of that. He came too late. He came too late, though, and this folly, buying sellswords, loosing 2 dragons in the city, that was madness. What madness is this? And worse than madness, that was treason.
You know, every time I see the word madness now or hear it, that's exactly what pops in my head afterwards is what madness is.
What Prince Quentyn did, he did for Dorne. Do you take me for some doting grandfather? I spent my life around kings and queens and princes. Sunspear means to take arms against the Iron Throne. No, do not trouble to deny it. Durin Martell is not a man to call his spears without hope of victory. Duty brought Prince Quentyn here. Duty, honor, thirst for glory. Never love. Quentyn was here for dragons, not Daenerys. And of course, he specifically says that they didn't get it, that he was not here for Daenerys, that he was here for dragons. So Quentyn, he does have this right about Quentyn.
Oh yeah.
He's dead, Drink. Ironwood rose to his feet. Words won't fetch him back. Cletus and Will are dead too. So shut your bloody mouth before I stick my fist in it. The big knight turned to Selmy. What do you mean to do with us?
That is one of the signs that Quentyn points out that there's more going on here because Garrus Archibald is trying to tell him to shut up so he doesn't say something.
He does it again. He goes, be quiet, Drink. He knows. To Sir Barristan, the big knight said, no need to come and talk if you meant to hang us. So it's not that, is it? No, this one might not be as slow-witted as he seems. I'm more used to you alive than dead. Serve me, and afterward I will arrange a ship to take you back to Dorne and give you Prince Quentyn's bones to return to his lord father. Sir Archibald grimaced. Why is it always ships? Which kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones with snakes, but anyway. Someone needs to take Quent home, though. What do you ask of us, sir? Your swords. You have thousands of swords. Queen's freedmen are as yet unblooded. The sellswords I do not trust. Unsullied are brave soldiers, but not warriors, not knights. He paused. What happened when you tried to take the dragons? Tell me. The Dornishmen exchanged a look. Then Drinkwater said, Quentyn told the tattered prince he could control them. Rags arranged for a ship, said Ironwood. A big one in case we got both dragons, and Quentyn was going to ride one. Then things got bad. And the windblown blew away, said Sir Garrus. Quent was screaming, covered in flames, and they were gone. Cago, Pretty Maris, all but the dead one. So there's one dead one there. Huh. Anyway. What did you expect, Drink? A cat will kill a mouse, a pig will wallow in shit, and a sellsword will run off when he's needed most. Can't be blamed, just the nature of the beast. He's not wrong, said Sir Barristan said. What did Prince Quentin promise the tattered prince in return for all this help? He got no answer. Sir Gareth looked at Sir Archibald. Sir Archibald looked at his hands, the floor, the door. Pentos, said Sir Barristan. He
There
promised him
you go.
Pentos. Say it. No words of yours can help or harm Prince Quentin now. Well, now Barristan does know that that was the tattered prince's price. He had been told that. He also knows that Daenerys was adamant that that would never be paid.
Okay.
So yeah, this is actually he's known that that would be the price. Anyway,
I forgot that then.
I said Sir Archibald unhappily. It was Pentos. They made marks on a paper, the two of them. There's a chance here. So Barristan kind of sounds like maybe he intends to blame the Dornish as he's going directly against Daenerys' wishes here.
Okay.
Tell him that I sent you, that I speak with the Queen's voice. Tell him that we'll pay his price if he delivers our hostages unharmed and whole. So he's arguably committing treason in the way that is it Axel Florent? Whichever Florent it is that the hand of the king speaks with the king's voice, and how can it be treason? And Davos is like, not in this. Well, he's going directly against words that he knows that Dany wants. So he's arguably, it's funny that he's blaming them for treason, and he's arguably doing treason here.
Right.
I'll do it, offered Sir Archibald, just so long as there's no bloody boats involved. Drink will do it too. He grinned. He don't know it yet, but he will.
Yeah, I like Archibald.
The Dornishmen were knights, at least in name, though only Ironwood impressed him as having the true steel. And we've seen Drink be an incredible fighter already. So we know that not only that, we also know that he's the one who's had all the brilliant ideas and how to get them here. He's been cautious. He's been anyway. And then he goes, Drinkwater had a pretty face, a glib tongue, and a fine head of hair. It's like Drink is like this anyway.
Yeah. Up until
like
this
I said,
point,
this is the number one thing to do if you want your book to be rereadable. Make characters give the wrong assessments of other characters. That is a great way to make your book more readable.
Well, it's a hook, line, and sinker kind of moment for the readers that the writer's setting them up with.
Yep.
With the unreliable narrator and I wish I'd never heard those words, unreliable narrator, in my life, just because how much of a pain in the butt it is trying to shift through it. But both Drink and Archibald in this scene act opposite to what they've been this entire time up until now. Drink all of a sudden can't form words, is punching the wall, is being not the Drink we've seen up till now.
It's supposed to be that I think it's supposed to be that Drink is more devastated by this, and Arch knows he needs to step up because he can see how devastated Drink is. That's what I think's going on.
And if that's the case, Quentin's dead.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. 6. Okay, this is the foreshadowing that people most like to point to in this chapter. 6 of the young cupbearers were playing some child's game as he entered, sitting in a circle on the floor as they took turns spinning a dagger. When it wobbled to a stop, they cut a lock of hair off whichever of them the blade was pointing at. So Barristan had played a similar game with his cousins when he was just a boy at Harvest Hall. Though in Westeros, as he recalled, kissing had been involved as well. So anyway, this is definitely foreshadowing that they're going to lose their heads.
The kids?
Yep. Far off to the east, beyond the city walls, he saw pale wings moving above a distant line of hills. Viserion, hunting mayhaps, or flying just to fly. He wondered where Rhaegal was. Thus far, the green dragon had shown himself to be more dangerous than the white. So anyway, there you go.
At the exact same time, raised by the same person, chained up at the same time, that had different personalities as they were growing up, are definitely not acting the same now.
Right. Viserion is
wasn't Viserion the mama's baby? The mama's boy, basically? Kind of with
no, but Viserion is the one that's less dangerous now, and Rhaegal is dangerous. So anyway,
I have to look at that, see if it switched.
And notice that the less dangerous one is flying just to fly, like just like enjoying being a dragon, like experiencing being a dragon. Anyway.
Well, yeah, stop. Think they were chained up for a hot minute, so I mean, You would
Yeah, yeah,
think, even in the rain, to be able to spread their wings and fly,
sure.
they both would do it.
The Dornishman, Hisdar, Resnak, the attack. Was he doing the right things? Was he doing what Daenerys would have wanted? I was not made for this. Definitely like Ned saying it should have been Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
This is a strong woman, and she's been a faithful friend to Daenerys. Our characters and some other characters are the most consistently wrong observations in the books.
Oh yes.
He beckoned to Kesmia and had her fetch the priestess a goblet of lemon juice sweetened with honey. Anyway, there's just some symbolism there that I thought was worth wearing the lemon shirt today. Yep.
I was wondering. I'm like, what shirt are you gonna wear today?
These are well, of course, our next chapter and in our discussions until we get through Mark G171. I'm going to be wearing this.
Okay.
He beckoned to Kesmia and had her fetch the priestess a goblet of lemon juice sweetened with honey. We did that. These are dire days. Death stalks our streets, riding the pale mare from thrice cursed Astapor. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. Dragons haunt the skies, feasting on the flesh of children. Burson just explained that's not happening.
Exactly. And he's not quick enough to pick it up.
Yeah. All the more reason to free the noble Hisdar Zolorak, who stopped such killings once. And how did he accomplish that unless he is himself the Harpy? Her grace gave her hand to Hisdar Zolorak, made him her king and consort, restored the mortal art as he beseeched her. In return, he gave her poisoned locusts. In return, he gave her peace. Do not cast it away, sir, I beg you. Peace is the pearl beyond price. Hisdar is of Lorak. Never would he soil his hands with poison. He is innocent. They choose war, then. So be it. Sir Barristan felt oddly relieved. War, he understood.
Yeah.
And then we get the Antlermen.
Yeah. I think he was secretly kind of hoping for this the whole time.
Oh yeah, he knows this. This is what he's prepared for. But
right.
For those that don't remember, at the beginning of this chapter, I said that the corpses represent the Antlermen flying through the air at the Blackwater.
Yeah. Well, here you also, it says corpses, but you don't know. Is it the hostages? What corpses? Because when I first read it, that's the first thing that popped in my head was.
Yeah, I may have thought that at the time. That's a good point. Yeah, and of course that's not the goal. The goal is to send them diseased corpses.
Yeah.
Up next is Dance 71, Daenerys 10, and then the only thing after that would be the epilogue.
And then the bonus chapter at the back, Barristan 1.
Oh, is that what you want to do?
Well, I didn't know what order you were going to do
we can do that. We can jump to that one.
The Winds of Winter stuff.
Well, your argument is that that's the only one that's actually published, so it's the only one published in a book.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we need to do what ones we have to do.
Yeah, people have tried to figure out what the order should be for specifically for these battle chapters. Let me look into that. I know there's been some pretty good analysis as to what order this should go in.
Right. And isn't one of the chapters that involved the battle a half a chapter that he read at some get together?
Yeah. There's some of them where we got like half of them as a half of them as a summary and half of them as a text. There are some that are like that.
I mean, I don't know how much stock to put into them. I mean, considering he's been 3/4 of the way through the book for 15 years or whatever.
Yeah. That's why people. That's why people sometimes combine these two.
Yeah, it's still fun to talk about them and speculate on what the meaning is and all that. But until the book comes out and I see him in there, I take him kind of at half faith.
Yeah.
If he's had to rewrite
Yeah, and as we said,
stuff.
long before we started saying this, long before I'd heard Elio say it, but Elio has said that the winner is coming out one way or another, meaning that George has talked in the past about his desire to try and get people an ending, or as much of an ending as he could, um, and and so if you've got three-quarters of the book, that it seems likely, and as he said, he is a personal friend of George's, and he has not talked to him about his wishes for that case, but he feels like it's known by pretty much everyone that he would want as much out as he could get. So so in his opinion,
I thought I heard somebody say that he said he was going to burn all his notes and all that kind of stuff. Or I mean, I don't know.
no, there was a time where he said that if he dies, tough luck kind of thing, basically. If he dies suddenly, like tough luck kind of thing, because I don't have any, I don't have any notes or something like that. But clearly, he says he does have three-quarters of the book, right? So
right, he's got notes somewhere. I mean, I think.
oh yeah. We've seen it. We've seen in the library that he had outlines and things that for a guy who claims not to outline, that's clearly not true. And what oftentimes he has like the last line of the chapter written down as
The first and last, I think he's already got around. Well, I mean, the story's growing just like characters. Like, man, I saw an interview when we was talking about Braun, and they asked him what character grew more than you thought, or whatever, and he's like Braun. I mean, him and Chicken were the two cell swords, and all of a sudden, his characters, the back and forth with him and Tyrion, just made the character more and more and more, and fan favorite on the show for sure, fan favorite of the book. But
yeah.
All right, we're at the time.
Yeah, let's wrap.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. And we will see you Wednesday for Theory Hour. Come with your questions, and we appreciate it. Y'all have fun. Take care, and bye. Bye, Richard.
Have a good one.